just on the issue of gas prices. After waiting for a long time to have enough chips in this country to finally get my electric vehicle, I got it and drove it from Michigan to here this last weekend and went by every single gas station, and didn't matter how high it was.
Okay, back with us now, Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, that was Congresswoman Democrat Debbie Stabenow. This is about the story we're going to do with you now, about how D.C. is so out of touch. The thing with that soundbite, Joe, is that Debbie Stabenow is ignoring the fact that her electric vehicle is powered by electricity, which is powered by 80% of electricity in this country comes from fossil fuels. So they're really out of touch.
I'm listening to Congresswoman Stabenow. I want to stab my head right now because you hear this. It's so tone deaf. It's so out of touch, Elizabeth. Not just what you just mentioned as far as electricity and charging and so on, but also what does an electric car go for on average these days? I don't know, $50,000, $60,000. And I'm pretty sure that most of her constituents just can't afford to just dip into the bank account, which has been completely stretched thin because of inflation, and just go out and buy an electric car so they can laugh at everybody on gas lines or at least paying $4 or $5 for gas. To say that out loud is beyond ridiculous, that people in this administration keep talking about a transition to green energy at a time when we have gas prices where they are and inflation where it is. The president mentioned it today during his press conference, where he said that, oh, we're making such progress on green energy and the transition to it. And people at home are saying, yeah, this isn't the time to talk about this stuff right now. So out of touch, and it's typical of Washington. Everybody lives, it truly is a swamp. Donald Trump was right.
And, Joe, to your point, breaking news coming in. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, just he purchased up to $5 million worth of stock in computer chip company NVIDIA ahead of a vote on a bill next week that would hand a reported $52 billion in subsidies to boost chip manufacturing. He sold up to $5 million worth of shares of Visa to buy this company's stock, the chip maker NVIDIA.
Wow, I just wrote that down while you were talking about that, because guess who I'm calling after this segment's over at 7 o'clock Eastern? My stockbroker at Merrill Lynch. We got to buy NVIDIA because there's a good chance that maybe Paul Pelosi knows something that we don't. And that's why when you see Washington and you see so many people like Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi, they're millionaires, yet Congress people don't make a heck of a lot of money. And boy, they've made a lot of money in the stock market. So yeah, NVIDIA, that sounds like a great buy. We're on Fox Business right now. I highly recommend it to everybody. And I know nothing about this stock.
It's so funny. It is a good company. Okay, here's the other thing. A new report, the most senior ranks of the Biden White House are filled with millionaires. One report suggests more than 400 millionaires and 93 former lobbyists. The question is, are they immune to the daily struggles of the people out there they're supposed to be serving? We've got 2/3 of Biden's team have never worked in business, just an average of 2.4 years of business experience versus more than 13 years in the Trump White House. And it's gotten to the point where an unnamed White House official admitted that senior staff knew nothing about the baby formula shortage months before it exploded into national news. They were slow to act and inform the president because it was, quote, not considered a top-level crisis.
Yeah, this is an administration that's always a day late and several dimes short. I mean, think of it, Pete Buttigieg, right? He took paternity leave for 2 months at the height of the supply chain crisis and didn't bother to tell anybody that he was going on leave. At least they didn't put an acting transportation secretary in there. But you mentioned all the people that don't have any business experience or very little in this administration. It doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in terms of solving everything to do with inflation and supply chains. And at the top of all this is the president of the United States, and Joe Biden, who I don't believe has ever worked in the private sector, right? He was elected at a very young age as far as being a lawmaker in his 20s. So he's never run a business, yet we expect him, or we don't expect him, it seems, if you read the polls, to get us out of this mess as far as from an economic perspective, because all he's saying now, Elizabeth, is spend trillions more and that'll lower inflation. And I took basically Econ 101 and that's it. And I'm pretty sure when you flood the system with all that money, it's probably going to devalue it a little bit more and create more inflation. Just spitballing. Yeah, we got to go, right?
D.C., it's the people, voters out there, they don't like the wink-wink culture. One hand is washing the other. They're feeling that people go in with $174,000 jobs, and then suddenly they come out as millionaires. And the Washington Times has been reporting on this story. They're summing up what they're seeing is the revolving door careerists, going in and out of the White House and then getting, high-paying jobs elsewhere. Your final word.
We have people trying to solve the inflation problem, mostly have worked in academia and think tanks. No, I want people from the business sector as part of this administration, but that just ain't allowed for some reason. Anyway, you have a good weekend, Elizabeth.
You
Great
too,
to see
Joe.
you.
Hey, thanks for your great work there doing 2 blocks. It's a pleasure to have you on. You'll come back again soon. Have a great weekend.